All right. It has been so long, dude. So long. It has been about 2 months, I think. Um, so, hang on, I gotta make this not be the way that it is. There we go. Okay, so we have been gone for a very long time. I'm back on my sleep deprivation, for one, and for two, I'm done with the certification that I was trying to get. Took me a bazillion years, but I'm done with it, and I don't have to dedicate pretty much 90% of my day to studying for it. 90% of my waking day, I should say. So I'm back to planning D&D. So we played 2 sessions in the time that I've been gone off this platform. And there has, we didn't do too much outside of what was already planned, what we'd already planned here. So today what we're gonna be doing is going ahead and running through what has happened, which has been quite a bit. They did the heist semi-successfully. And so we'll go over that real fast, just like some of the big events and reactions that happened during that. And then we'll go ahead, and what I want to do is start planning, even though I already have an idea, I want to start planning the bigger story beats. But I do have D&D tonight, which means that we do have to do session planning as well, which I think those are going to tie in pretty nicely because they are going to a fancy party. And of course, that is just a great opportunity to get some nice, suave, evil characters in there. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. So let's just go ahead and hop right into it. Let me pull up my stuff. Hold. Timeline notes. Alrighty. Hold. Alrighty, let me change this to D&D chatting. Hello. So, hold. We were on, last time we talked, I think that we had finished session 10. Session. Oh, that's too far back. It's way too far back. Yeah, because we planned for the heist, right? I think so. Oh my god, I don't remember what we talked about the last time I was here. I'm gonna be honest, it's been way too long. So let's just go through this. So basically they arrived in Umbra. They got in contact with the person that Irene, oh my gosh, this has been way too long. It's so long. Oh, wow, they got here so fast. Okay, I believe we did do this because in order for them to do all this, we had to have talked about the heist that they did. Hi, Edwin, it's been so long. How are you? So last time, I really don't remember what we talked about. It has been so long since we last did a D&D prep. And so they called Irene and tried to ask, basically, in the week leading up to the performance, they called Irene and were like, yo, could you help us? And she was like, no, I pay people to do that kind of stuff for me. And this is the heist that they're doing for the wizard Alir, that they met and got this job from, who is a contact of Irene's as well. So they did a whole bunch of stuff to prepare for it, and then they got some stink bombs and never used them, by the way, but they got a whole bunch of stuff prepared. I love my players. They are so creative. It makes me so happy. So Lise Bilda, who is our local bard, she got 3 magic mouths, I believe. 3 magic mouths, 3 stone angels that she cast magic mouth on. Oh, it must have been 6 because it's 10 gold for the casting. Oh, maybe I doubled it. Anyway, and so she's using those as like background singers that she's just going to put as like almost an angelic chorus, if you will. Did you make a Bullywug King? No, I don't believe I did. I don't believe so. But we are actually going to talk about a different kind of king today, which I'm excited about. Actually many different types of rulers, because they've discovered so much since we've been gone. They did a whole bunch of preparation. They got a bunch of spell scrolls. They basically made really good friends with that casting family under the ocean. And they are basically working with one of them, the wizard of them, to get more information on the golden comb that they have found, which I don't remember what we have talked about. They turned the comb into a lute, by the way. No, we have talked about that. We had to have, because we did properties on the comb. Mixing up streamers I've not seen live for some time. I totally get it, dude. Don't worry. So the last time we talked, I believe that we planned the heist for my players to do. So, they're going into a museum, and I don't know if you actually were there for that one or not, but, they were going into a museum, and they're stealing a spell book that belongs to this ancient wizard, aka a dragon, named Alir. And so they completed that semi-successfully, and now they are looking for their next steps, which is what we're gonna focus on in just a moment. But so the heist, they got through it pretty successfully. So they opened a, they used stone shape to open a door, in the wall that was next to the museum. I'm actually gonna let me pull up the museum because I'm still proud of it, man. I'm still so proud of it. Actually. Launching game. There we go. Gathering steam. Mapping dungeons. Beautiful. So, what they did was they went over to, let me put one of my players over here so we can see. They went over to this wall, that outside, and they cast, they were so smart about this whole heist, guys. I can't even describe. So in each of these rooms, there is a little camera that is in each of them. So what they did was they had Ori, who has a pendant of non-detection, and she couldn't be seen by any divination spells. So she was able to walk through this entire place without being seen. And Lise Bilda, who is our resident bard, we made so what I did for all of my players was at the very beginning of the campaign, I was like, yo, I want you guys all to have some super special feat that is particular to you. And so we made those, and Lise Bilda's was basically being able to garner large crowds of people's attention, willingly or unwillingly, at any given moment. So while Lise Bilda is doing this big old musical play, hang on, my camera is glitching. Is that better? It's not better. Is it me? Oh, I think it's just glitchy. Oh well, such is life. So Lisbilda is doing this big, grand musical travel through history, basically, where she has used, which I know this is not how the spell works, but we decided to do rule of cool. She used illusory terrain to make this whole, to make this whole area look like grass, and the benches were like logs, and there were little critters running around, and she made the ceiling look like a night sky with constellations of the gods and their champions and the such. And it was just such a cool visual. It was so much fun. So while she's distracting everybody up here, the guards who had to roll for it, and every single one failed, they all like crowded up at this spiral staircase, and they crowded around trying to listen to this big musical magical adventure that was happening. So while that whole thing was happening, we had our resident non-detection wearer go in and basically cast a little square right here of illusion. I think it was major illusion. Might have been silent image. I'm not positive. To where it would look to anyone who passed by, it would look like the room from that point of view. So they cast Stone Shape, Ayla did, from outside, along with Cass, where they were acting as guards. And they cast Stone Shape and made a wall that went in. And oh my god, the player for Ayla, she was so smart. She was like, I make it look like, from a top-down view, so bird's eye view, make it look like an S. That way, when they went through, you couldn't see the other side, even if you were on this side. So you would see what might, to an aware observer, look like an indent in this wall, but they wouldn't be able to see the other side and what was going on inside. So they're just so smart. It makes me so happy to have super smart players. They were so intelligent about this entire thing. So they get inside, and they steal this book right here, which is a random caster's journal from, you know, the Arcane Ascension way back when. And they begin to dispel the layers of magic that they can see on this case. But there is a hidden layer of magic that they did not attempt to dispel. And to be clear, me and my players did have a conversation about how I love what is it called? How I love Nystel's magic aura, which can make something magical appear non-magical, or vice versa, or appear like a certain kind of magic. And so we'd had this conversation, and I was like, all bets are off. I can do it, whatever. I'm so excited. And even if I hadn't had that conversation after this point, they would have known about it. So it's not a too big of a stakes thing, especially considering they're all very persuasive human beings. So they get in there, they begin to open the case, which they think has no magic on it. And actually it's Ayla who stayed outside and Cass who stayed inside. So Cass opens the case, and the spell Mind Spike goes through and hits him. He fails, which means, according to Mind Spike, for the next, I believe it's an hour, the caster knows where he is. So Ayla, after he grabs the book, and he does take a little bit of damage, but it's not a big deal because that wasn't the point of the spell. So he takes the book, hands it to Ori. Ori and Cass both exit outside. And Ayla sees on Cass that he has a divination spell on him, which they can surmise is some kind of tracking spell. So Ayla is like, oh fuck. Ori's like, oh fuck. And Cass is like, oh god. And Amira, if you are at Lisbilda's point of view, Amira, the museum curator who is watching the show, teleports outside and just stares them down. That's where we ended that session, and then we started up the session with combat, which of course Amira is last in. And of course, Ori just uses her feat, you know, that special feat that I gave them at the very beginning of the campaign. She uses her feat to go ahead and impose disadvantage on a saving throw for Amira, and Amira gets banished for the next minute. So everybody zooms away. Oh, Ayla also cast Dispel Magic on the divination that was affecting Cass. So what we saw there was all of them taking just an absolute run for it in opposite directions. Ori is completely safe at this point. She cannot be tracked. However, Cass and Ayla can be tracked. They are... Let me see if I can actually fix this by stopping and starting it again. Hold. 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 Maybe? Nah. Oh well. So they run off. Cass is the one that Amira is most familiar with. Also, Cass turned into a werewolf. She's like, maybe I shouldn't let this guy run off. So she goes after him first, force cages him, tries to get him to talk. He's like, no. As he's sitting in the force cage, he's like, no. And Amira is like, okay, fine, and teleports to where Ayla is, after casting Locate Creature, of course. And she is able to talk to Ayla, and I can't remember what exactly was said. It's been a hot minute. Again, I haven't been playing either. The cinnamon roll only for themselves. Aha. Okay. Amira gets out of the banishment, appears in front of Ayla. Ayla tries to get away, is like, damn, I'm running out of spells. I guess I have to really talk to her. And basically she's like, I understand that you have some kind of desire to take whatever you took, but it belongs in the museum and I need it back. And so Ayla is like, after Leesbilda, in a smart way, tosses these little earrings that they made that look like bees. And they called it the hive mind, and I love it. So they have these little that can cast sending to only the wearers of these hive mind bees. So she tosses her earring into the bag of holding because all of them have one. And at this point, they're like, maybe we can actually get away with this. They were very wrong. Ayla basically says, yo, this isn't ours. This is somebody else's, a very ancient being. And we can't return it. And so Amira is... This hits Amira very specifically because she is very concerned, and my players don't know this, but she is very concerned with taking ancient artifacts from places that... from where they belong, basically. So something that Amira is very passionate about is something that Ayla hits on, and that's what gets her convinced, basically. So she's basically like, yo, you guys want to talk about it? And she's like, yeah, we can discuss it. And she's like, are you willing to teleport with me? And she's like, at this point, do I really have an option? And she's like, yeah, but it just makes it a little bit more difficult, technically. And so they have a little, like, a nice little connection moment that makes, not, my players don't know this, but Amira is endeared to, has endeared feelings towards Ayla. She respects her at this point for not making things difficult and for having a reason and not just taking it for profit, because this is a pretty expensive piece that could be sold for quite a bit. So Amira teleports back to Cass with Ayla in tow, and then Ayla casts sending to Ori, and it was basically like, yeah, she knows everything, help me please. And Ori's like, don't give them details. So we skip through all this. They basically come to a point where Cass is like, I thought we were gonna die. And Amira is like, I am not going to murder you. I own a museum. I'm not gonna murder you, dude. And so they just, this entire time, can't believe that this lady is not murdering them. She's very powerful, don't get me wrong, but she's not a murderer. And it was kind of nice to be able to deviate away from basically that, what's the word? That trope that is in a lot of D&D games, which is not a bad trope per se. It just doesn't make sense in the city and the world that they are currently in. And it was just so nice for myself and my players to have that kind of step away. Not everyone's trying to murder us. We don't have to kill everything. We're having a good time. So long story short, Alir and Ori get together. Ori brings the journal, or sorry, the notebook, the spell book, back to Alir, and then is basically Ori is basically the in-between of Amira and Ayla. And Ayla's the in-between of Amira. So these two parties are trying to communicate with each other from a distance at this point. And Ayla offers, she's like, hey, what if you got to talk with this person, with this ancient being? They won't be willing to meet up in person, but what if you got to talk to them? And so they go ahead and relay those two messages, eventually come to an agreement where Amira can ask Alir questions, and Alir does not have to return the book. So basically Amira gets a pretty good deal for somebody who's extremely curious, who's a wizard, and has a museum about the beginnings of the world. She gets to ask this thousands and thousands of year old being questions about how the world was. So what I ended up doing was I let my players come up with the questions. So I gave them all 3, I think. So all 4 of them, 3 of them, and then, or 3 or 5. I'm not positive. But I also had to make it clear that Amira has something to do with the Raven Queen. She's very curious about it. I haven't quite decided what it is yet. I'm thinking maybe a family member that she believes is stuck in between your real life and the afterlife. Because as you may know, the Raven Queen is basically the farrier from the live realm to the death realm, and she essentially determines where you go based on your character alignment and or who you follow and or who you are loyal to in terms of the gods. So I think they haven't dug into it, so I'm not gonna flesh that out, but I think that there is some kind of family member or loved one or something to that effect that is either a ghost, so not alive, not dead, or something where their soul is caught in between where they're supposed to be, basically. So that was a big tangent, but they ask a whole ton of questions. It was a lot of fun. And they eventually they have a really fun so basically there was a moment where Lisbilda mentioned that if they find more artifacts, then they would be willing to bring them to the museum to, be looked after. That specific wordage that she used, more artifacts, was what prompted Amira to cast Detect Thoughts. And in that moment, Lisbilda did think of the comb, which is this super ancient comb from the first caster, million years ago. Not a million, like 2,000-3,000 years ago. And so Amira pushes into her mind, and Lisbilda is aware that she has, and so Lisbilda immediately just gay panics, and it's so cute and hilarious. I loved it. It was so funny. And so they all get together. They end up eventually going back to Seeger's house, and on their way back to Seeger's house, Lisbilda and Cass drunk as fuck. So they teleport back when they have somebody who they see is following them. And Ayla and Ori end up getting very close to this person. So this person, which they cast Hold Person on, gets a good look at Ayla, who does not have an amulet of non-detection, which is very, very important, because now this person, who is somebody from Ori's past that Ori doesn't recognize, they're from the cult that Ori was a part of and ran away from. So this person from Ori's past now has somebody that they can relay to basically Ori's family to let them know who they can track in order to find this group. So now we have to create consequences for that, which is my favorite thing personally. And what they end up doing is they get back to Seeger's house, set some traps. Ayla gets a sending that is basically like, yo, I'm here to pick up the fire opals from 6 bazillion years ago. And so she drops those off to somebody, to that person, and that person leaves. They actually disappear. So here's the fun thing. I don't want that person to exist. I want them to have been an illusion, either a physical, like, not necessarily a golem, but some kind of illusion that the people who were looking after Ayla before used to not necessarily have to be there, but still be able to pick up those super important fire opals, which we all know is fake. They don't actually need them, aside from the fact that they're valuable. To pick up the super expensive and helpful fire opals, but not actually need to have somebody go get them from her. So that's gonna be something that shows up in the future, and I'm very excited to have those lines drawn. So they have a goals recap that they do. They look around for some stuff in the city, and basically they learn about this super fancy, beautiful place called the Dancing Lotus, which we are going to basically plan out today. And I need to remember to put in gambling. Hang on, let me put a note down. Gambling at the Dancing Lotus. Oh, I didn't spell that right. We also need to talk about, I think I named him Gadriel. Gadriel? Is that it? Yeah. Gadiel. So we need to remember to put him in at some point. Alright. So the big things that happen is Cass ends up going out into the city, and we decided to give him the Rune Knight. Whoops. We give him the Rune Knight subclass because he was finding that his, what's it called? The Battle Master subclass for the fighter was just not serving him well. And so we decided to give him a new one. Let me go ahead and show you guys. We did change something. I can't remember what it was, but we did change stuff. So the Rune Knight, that's what it is. This bad boy. And basically you can carve runes to have cool stuff happen. Normally this is only supposed to affect yourself, but we made it you're able to affect other people for, I believe, this first. Yeah, it's like the stuff that's a little bit more supporty stuff. Evtech, hi, welcome. It's nice to see you. Aman, welcome back. Hi, how is it going? Happy new week. I know. I'm happy to be back first and foremost, but I'm also just excited to get to see everybody again. I'm not gonna lie, it's really fun to talk to you guys. It's fun to talk about D&D. It makes me happy, and it's a lot of fun to talk about the plans that I have in place with people I can talk about it with, you know? That are not in my group. Because my other D&D group that I play in has one of my players from this game in it as well, so I can't talk about it with them either, otherwise they'll know and it'll be sad. But anyways, I'm here and excited. So these are, yeah, support does go a long way. It makes it a lot, I think that's why I'm so drawn to the wizard class, is because I love being able to do stuff outside of combat. Combat's so much fun, don't get me wrong, but when you are able to support your teammates in plans that they make, or be part of the planning process for fun strategies, that is so much fun. I have so much fun doing that. It is my favorite. Hold on, let me fix something real fast. There we go. Much better. So, anyways, a big reason why I love the Artificer Alchemist's path, because it forces you to think outside of the box. So here's the thing. I don't want to learn everything outside of the player's handbook, because that is too much in my brain, and my brain is already 90% D&D, and if I shove anything else in there, it is just going to be a mess. I'm not going to be able to remember anything else. But I've always been curious about what exactly draws people to the Artificer, because I feel like the wizard is just better. But I'm also biased, so, you know. Anyways, I'm just a nerd, and it's reflected in my choice of class. Even when I read often that many players think this spec is bad because it can do so much heal or damage like other. Oh, the specialty is bad because it can do so much heal or damage. It can't do as much, I assume. Yeah, I love utility. I love utility classes. It makes it so much more fun to be able to do stuff outside of combat. And I'm also very biased because I prefer roleplay over combat, which I know not everyone does, but all of my players do as well, so it makes my job easier. But also, we talked after our last session, because I do these session reviews. Where is it? Session reviews. I do these session reviews where they tell me what they liked and what they're missing out on. And what we recently added was, what was your character's most important moment this session, and what immediate goals does your character have right now? And side tangent, these are so helpful, by the way, knowing these and going over these at the ends of sessions, because then I know what to plan for, which is really nice. But at this most recent session, they were like, yo, we're kind of missing combat a little bit. And I was like, okay, I'll do my best. So we're gonna be doing at least a little bit of combat today. We're gonna be planning out a little bit of combat. Not everything is a number game. Yeah, exactly. The chemistry angle of the alchemist brings a giant pile of RP themes with them. Ooh, that's fun. So if you haven't watched her, you definitely should. Dale Kingsmill, D-A-E-L, Kingsmill, is a really cool YouTuber, and she does a ton of out of the box, really fun, oh, I spelled this wrong. You fuck. She does a lot of really fun, like, alternate rules, and she has a whole video. Is it a whole video? I can't remember. I think it's a whole video on finding, like, it must be alternate rules or something, because I can't imagine this making a whole video. But she has a video on, like, finding alchemist supplies out in the wild, and the roles involved in that, and like she has really fleshed out rules regarding that, and it is so cool. I love her stuff. Highly recommend. Highly recommend. Goals and wishes from a player can be priceless. Yeah, exactly. I strive to put at least a taste of each of the 3 pillars in my sessions. So roleplay, combat, and what else? What else? What is the 3rd pillar? EbTech. Exploration. Ooh. Ooh, I like that actually. The 3 pillars. That's actually really cool. I'm gonna write that down. 3 pillars. Exploration. So do you include, just out of curiosity, do you include exploration as like exploring a building? Or is it more grand scale, like learning about the world? Out of curiosity. Exploration, combat, RP. I like that a lot. Yeah, exactly, Amon. I built my Tabaxi artificer alchemist around it. A cute kitten that wishes to help others with their herbalist brewing stuff. That's so cute. A player started theory crafting about what the big bad evil guy is up to, and I started to take notes. DM, write this down. You need this later. Yeah, I think that there is absolutely no shame in letting your players do the work for you. I think that it brings them immense satisfaction to be right. It does. And that is part of what makes it so fun. Yeah, taste would be exploring a building, but yeah, it expands out to the world building. Okay, interesting, interesting. I like that a lot. I like those 3 pillars a lot. Because so we did a session where, or many sessions, oops, Control Z. We did many sessions where we made this museum, and we had so much fun doing this. We had so much fun in this chat making this, for one, and for 2, it was also a lot of fun for my players to be able to explore and like go around and do stuff and read all of the little plaques that everything had. It was just, I like that pillar. I like that pillar a lot. I like it a lot. Sorry, I'm getting distracted. 80% of my plot is big bad evil guy is player theory based with a slight twist. Yeah. I actually also want to talk about this today. So my players, well, I don't need to write it down because I've been thinking about it literally all week. So way back when we started this campaign, when we were talking, I think Amon and Edwin were part of this, but we made these shadow creatures that my players ended up going and going into those caves and seeing these shadow creatures, which were tale told of being basically defenses of nature, telling people to back off if they start going too deep. And my players are like, there's so an evil wizard behind this. There's no way these are good guys. And I want them to be good guys. I really want to play with the juxtaposition of dark and light, how it is normally used in storytelling. And I want to start using more colors. So we're actually going to talk about this today. There is a character that I want to create today that is going to basically be the evil guy of the session, but it is going to be, or whoever they are, is going to be a very suave, very charming individual. And I very much want to base this character off of Asmodeus, who I plan to have in some degree. My big bad evil guy is going to be Asmodeus, who is the god of the 9 hells. Just a quick heads up to anyone who doesn't know who he is. So Asmodeus is very much based off of Satan, you know? He's supposed to be a beautiful person and is supposed to be very charming and is supposed to be, you know, all of the things that Satan is. I am not a religious person, so I'm going to stay away from the real religion-esque-ness of that, but I do want to play on the idea of evil being beautiful or evil being alluring, if that makes sense. I want this person to be very helpful. I want them to be very involved, and I want them to stab my players in the back. I really do. When the players start joking and theory crafting, I listen to it. Yes, yes. Why not use it as inspiration when it's better than all I could have made up beforehand? Yeah, I agree. I agree. Save. I did change something. Okay, the fire rune. Shit! The timeline notes. And now we are going to talk about the demons, basically. So what I'm very excited about is, I don't know if you guys remember, because it was, I think, last year when they had this encounter. We made a combination of a demon and a devil. It was the Abishai and the Gesumthen. It's the one with the claws, the little arms and the claws, the pincers. Galbrezu? Galbrezu? Is that right? I think that's right. To seduce is a tool of some demons, so infiltration can be a tool for them to work with. Yeah, I want it to be something that hurts my players. I don't want my players to actually be hurt. I want their characters to be betrayed and hurt. And we've actually had, just a heads up, I did a whole with my players, I always do a consent in gaming form. And I'll show you guys what that looks like. I'll pull up a rant. Let me actually D&D DM stuff. My game resources. Old consented gaming. Here it is. It's this bad boy. And none of my players have X'd out on or said no to any of like the more manipulative things. They've actually been very much encouraging me to have either somebody in their character life, someone in their character life get hurt, or have somebody betray them, which I'm very excited about. So excited. They're never gonna trust anyone again. It's amazing. So what we're gonna be talking about today are the demons, including whoever is experimenting on those demon and devil mixtures, whoever is experimenting on those. So that's the main character plot that we're going to, not character plot, the main story plot that we're going to be mapping out today. So hold, copy paste. Text attributes. Text. This is not right. What is the right one? Is it character? It is character. Okay, so we'll do like 28. Like that. That's nice. That's a nice size. Maybe some vain, suave, swashbuckler-like character. Ooh, I kind of like that. I like that a lot. Might be a little too similar to the Thieves Guild leader. That same vibe. Because we talked about that 2 times ago, which I know was a million years ago. But yeah, I do want them to be upper class, upper echelon, very much the easygoing type, because they want you to talk. They want you to tell them all about you, and then they will stab you in the back. An idea of my story table was to use a demon baby to betray the player later. What do you mean? Like a changeling situation? Like a switch them out at birth? Or like you take or like they're taking care of this demon child and then the demon child is like, fuck you. I love a good portrayal where you leave lots of clues and they still miss it. Yeah, I want this person to be so endearing, so to be so helpful and nice and wonderful that they don't question why, even though they should. They've been questioning every other character up until this point, but I can feel the edge coming off. I can feel the edge softening, and I know that this may possibly, I could be a little early, but this may possibly be the perfect moment to insert a character like this and not have them guess it, if that makes sense. So, my goodness, it's been a long time since I've talked this much. The demons. So what we're going to talk about is the experimenter. Actually, that's not what we're going to talk about. That is one of the things that we are going to talk about eventually, but that's not the first story hold that they have to, the first foothold in the story that they have to grab onto. The thing that comes before the experimenter is how the experimenter gets their experiments. In order to do that, they would need people to summon demons and summon devils. And in order for them to do that, they would need somebody who wants to make contracts. So ideally, in theory, not ideally, sorry. In theory, this experimenter is already in leagues with the devils. The devils. So our big bad evil guy, in theory, if they get that far, is going to be Asmodeus. If they don't get that far, it's probably going to be one of his generals or what have you. But in order for the experimenter, who already has ties with the devils, the experimenter needs somebody to summon demons. So what we're going to call this person is the summoner. And what they actually are is going to be a murderer, I think. They're going to be a murderer who is going to basically seduce and lure people into summoning demons, who are then going to be shipped off to the experimenter. And then the summoner is going to be a murderer who then murders the humans, or the humanoids, I should say, that summon these demons. I think that's going to be very interesting. A demon child that is now adopted from the players. I couldn't bring myself to let orphan half-demon attack their only benefactors in the world. Yeah, that's how I'd feel. I wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to go through with it. The child waited there for their demonic mother, and the player deduced that this parent will never appear again. Cute. Of the races in your world, is there one where people often guess their age way younger than they are? Maybe half-elves? Ooh. Ooh. That would be interesting. So we have a couple options on that front. I really like that suggestion. So we could do an Isomar, which the more I think about it, the more I am drawn to that idea. We could use an Isomar who they all look human, unless you see their wings or you cast some kind of detection spell that tells you they are Isomar. Oh, she screams. Oh, she's screaming. Okay. Okay, yeah, I gotta go stop her from screaming. Give me 1 second! Rosie! She's so angry at all times. So an Isomar who maybe has the blood of one of the gods, and that god has turned their back on them because they're an asshole or something like that, you know, that might be interesting. So a Isomar is not super much older than a human would be, but in my world at least, they are like, they can be 60 to 100 years older than humans can be. So I think An Isomor might, I love that idea, Edwin, actually. An Isomor might be the perfect amount of hates the gods, to the point of being terrible and sending these people to an early grave. Somebody who's just angry at the gods. I really like that. Okay, hold. Hold on. Character. Do this like 18? Oh, very tiny. The summoner. So angry at the gods. That's too small. It's too small. Character. Do it like 24. I like that. Much better. So angry at the gods. Put this to the side. Start putting some of these down here. Isomar. How do you spell Isomar? Is it W-A or double S? It is double A. I was right. Perfect. I think that would be so much fun. Funny if you have a deal maker as a character who's maybe too beneficial on your side to avoid long time. Oh, so they have to interact with them. Interesting. I like that. I was in a group that used Tasha in a similar role to the experimenter you're using. That's so fun. I actually, so here's the thing. I don't know. I only got into D&D. Oh my god, it's been longer than I think it has been. In 2017? It has not been that long compared to a lot of my friends who have been in this space for so many years. But I actually don't know a whole lot about the original setting. What is it? Forgotten Realms. So I don't know a whole lot about Tasha or Mordenkainen or any of those old casters that are in the what is essentially the OG material. So I would love to know more about Tasha. Anyways, in a D&D setting of mine, there was a demon of mine who operates on a nightly rule set from his older days, but to deal with him could be extremely dangerous when crashed unknowingly. Ah, I like that. A nightly rule set. I kind of like that a lot, actually. Is this demon like someone who operates in the prime material, or did they operate from the abyssal plane? Because this endearing NPC that is going to betray them might pose as being younger, way less experienced in the ways of the world, making the players go, oh no, we need to protect this gullible person. Oh, so not so much the suave idea, but more of the helpless idea. Like, I want to take care of you. I like that a lot. That is so good, actually. Oh, uses a helpless persona. Like that. Player character of mine is an Isomar physician who partly breaks on the reality that he can't save everyone he encounters. Dude, my DM hates me because she wants to make us happy and I want to save everybody. It's so bad. Clears his throat and does an old man's voice. You young whippersnappers started playing D when 2nd edition was still the current edition. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So what's really fun for me, so my first group, the Buff Ducks, I had 2 players who were in their mid to late 40s. I don't know exactly how old they are. And we're now very close friends. And it was so cool being able to introduce them to D&D because it was their first campaign too. And I was like, all right, I've done it. I'm at the peak. It never gets better than this. I get to teach the old people about Dungeons and Dragons. They're not that old, but it was still fun. The demon revenges weak demons he took under his wings as his squires. Oh, Oh, that's cute, actually. It's cute in, like, you know, a demonic way. Imagine to kill a low-level demon who warns you from a benefactor he has and the player ignored it. Ooh, that does sound fun. Did you end up using that in your game, or did you never get around to it? Because I know that I plan so many NPCs that never get used. not out of... It's just because it never comes up, you know, or the game ends too early to use it. So, yeah. Unfortunate. But there's also a bunch of characters that I've just come up with and never gotten the chance to actually put in the path of my players. Player lives now with a sense of dread when it gets darker. Ooh. Okay, so the summoner, we're gonna call them, even though they don't do the actual summoning, they do provide all of the tools for you to get what you need. I like they use as a helpless persona. I wonder how that would work in terms of getting people to summon demons in a relatively short amount of time. Okay, so let's expand on this. Uses a helpless persona. Oh, anger at the gods. Okay, so actually, let's do this. So we'll do the Isomar, and under Isomar is angry at the gods. And then we'll do abandoned by their blood ancestor. Either like a champion that the god created or the god themselves. Something like that. And then uses a helpless persona. It's gonna be so fun. My players are going to eat it up. It's gonna be great. Maybe they use like a naive way of looking at things and being like, yeah, everything will be fine. I'm sure that these demons are going to help you. Don't worry. That kind of thing. I wonder if that would be more inviting. Maybe they're helpless because of some disability, like being blind. I just don't know how that would serve like being able to show people how to make summoning circles and that kind of thing. It would hide the Isomar eyes. Do Isomars have different eyes? Isomars. Do Isomars... I spelled it wrong. Asomar. Asomar have different eyes. Pupilless, pale, white, gray, or golden eyes. Planetars could also have emerald skin. Feathers mixed in with their hair. Oh. Ooh. If we did that, I think that we could do something. Well, in a magical world, I feel like there are different ways to get around those kinds of limitations, you know? Like you become a wizard and you learn how to cast Find Familiar. And Find Familiar you can see through their eyes. I think I don't know. I also am not I am partially deaf, but I'm not in any significant way disabled, so I hesitate to make a character that I am not familiar with the disability of that limits them in such a way. And especially using it in a way of my brain is not working. Using it in a way where the disability is not actually limiting, but they're using it as a manipulation tactic. I don't know how comfortable I am pulling that off. I just don't know if I could properly. I do like the idea but I just don't think I can pull it off personally. My mind goes to combining Isomar, angry at the gods, and abandoned by their blood ancestor. Maybe their blood ancestor abandoned them after finding out they were an Isomar, angry at the gods for making them this Isomar freak and not just normal. Do you mean like their family member? Like maybe they're adopted, or maybe they gave birth to a Isomar without being aware that their partner was an Isomar? Okay, you're gonna have to clarify what that yes to that yes was to. Sorry. Isomars sometimes randomly appear in the bloodline. Oh. So kind of like sorcerers or tieflings? Because I know tieflings oh, maybe like a grandfather trait where it's like your hair is red because your great-grandfather had red hair and you and your direct family members didn't. Yes, they're birth parents. Appear randomly in a bloodline. An inactive gen. I can't talk today, so we're just gonna continue on. Yeah, I kinda do like that, so move experimenter over. Goodbye. Copy pasta. I like that a lot. Put it right there. Put this here. Put this here. Let me get some arrows up in here. This is not centered. There we go. There we go. Oh, that's not right. Oh. There we go. That's what I like to see. It's kind of squished. Hang on. My aesthetics. They must fit perfectly. Oh. Oh lordy. Oh lordy. Oh no. There we go. Perfect. Do, 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 do. Okay. And this is not the right button. This is the right button. Okay. So, parents hate them for being Isomar. Oh. So maybe they got heavy into the religious scene. They were like, fuck you. So the next one, oh, imagine way in the past it was an Isomar but appears in the family rarely. So if the next one's appears, many stories could poison the family to anything other than welcoming to this holy child. Ooh. What if we explored the idea of, what if we explored the idea of them belonging to a evil god ancestor? You know? Like someone who was not good. But I guess that would just make them like a demon or a devil. Well, not necessarily. A demon or a devil could come, sorry, a tiefling could come from a deal with a devil or a deal with a demon or something like that. They could also be a fallen Isomar. Ooh. I think I need to have more details on the fallen Isomar. D5E. Code. Oh. It's rude. It'll work. There we go. Speed 30 feet. Fallen Isomar. Enhance. Necrotic Shroud. Unleash the divine energy within yourself, causing your eyes to turn into pools of darkness into skeletal, ghostly, flightless wings. Ooh. The instant you transform, other creatures that could see you become frightened of you. Your transformation lasts for 1 minute. Fallen Isomar. I like... So I like the idea of using what is traditionally a very welcome sight of an angel, quote unquote, being evil. I like the idea of them having full wings. What makes a fallen Isomar? Fallen Isomar control. Fallen. Can't talk. Fallen Isomar. Marked by some form of darkness in their lives that tarnish their inner light. This fallen Isomars were ever influenced by some evil power they themselves turn into the ways of evil. I feel like that makes it more of a, like, clerical trait almost, rather than a race. Being able to change them like that. That's crazy. Like that child isn't human and a cursed child, even when the gods used to be benevolent. Oh, fallen Isomar was my physician. Imagine that the Isomar trait popping up in him made his father think that his mother had cheated on him. Dad kills mom, then abandons the freak child. Oh. Oh. That would be incredibly interesting. I like that a lot. I like that a lot, actually. Hold. Hold. Oops. Oh. Is that centered? That looks centered. I like that a lot. Well, I think his mother had cheated on him. Dad kills mom, then abandons the freak child. Ooh, but that would make them... So I love the idea of villains being irredeemable for the actions that they have taken or the things that they have done, but also being, you are able to sympathize with them or even empathize with them if you've been through the same situation. I love that. Basically, Isomars that have turned to evil. The Isomar was built as a mercenary monk, so the theme was a crow-like plague doctor. Oh, that's fun. Skeleton wings and a crow mask. That's fun. Their drive to do good collides with the reality of the world they are in. I don't know if I want to keep that in my game or not, because so I have let me actually pull it up for you guys, my world map. Asgard's fantasy map generator. So I have a whole island that is work drive D&D that is dedicated to Isomars specifically. Very good. Oh wait, no, I have to go back to Veria maps Midlands. Hopefully, I haven't visited this site in a while. And it often updates. Oh, perfect! It hasn't updated. We'd love to see it. So Scaria is this little island down here, and what it is a floating island. It was basically the last stand against the evil gods in the War of the Cosmos, and it was basically the last place standing that had a significant backing of the gods behind it. So this was where everything turned around, and because of that, there's a big connection to the gods, including Yggdrasil. So Yggdrasil is the tree of life, and if you look into, which I know this goes against everything I said earlier, so I do know a little bit about the Forgotten Realms, but if you look into the Forgotten Realms, the plane information, there's this place called the Outer Planes, which is basically where the Yggdrasil lies, and at Yggdrasil's roots are is a portal to wherever Cord lives. I can't remember where it is, but anyway, Yggdrasil, Scaria, those are intertwined, and there is a portal to Yggdrasil there. I think Yggdrasil also has portals to other planes, but I could be wrong. I know that there are portals to other planes in the Outer Planes, but I can't remember if that is because of Yggdrasil or is that is a separate idea outside of it. I'd have to go back and look at my notes, which I will do eventually. But anyways, plot twist, unbeknownst to the father, the Isomar gene was in his bloodline. Yes, I love that. Yeah, that is my kind of plot twist. Bap, bap. There we go. Ooh, I like that a lot. Ooh. Help one of you two, and you decided for the one who does evil later. Not easy to cope with as an idea. Oh, I didn't read the previous thing. An idea I would have is that the drive to help others can also be warped to some extent. Their holy core could bring them into a situation where they need to decide an impossible thing, like help one of two, and you decided for the one who does evil later. So I think that is a very interesting idea to run off of. And if you were a true neutral god like the Raven Queen, maybe the stuff that you do to help people and they do bad stuff later is part of what decides your fate. But I also feel like the Raven Queen would just be too intelligent of a person to let that impact a singular person's individual destiny. I also think that in terms of like the fallen versus the not fallen, is it like the radiant or whatever, Isomar, I want fallen Isomar to be from evil gods. I think like they don't necessarily have to be evil people. I just want them to have been from evil gods in their bloodlines, and I think so. The reason why I talked about Scaria in the first place is because Scaria they are the only place where you can find Pegasi on the prime material plane, and part of my motivation for that was to accommodate for the fallen Isomar. I remember it's all coming back to me. This was so long ago. And I don't want fallen Isomar to necessarily inherently be evil. I want them to have been descended from evil beings, if that makes sense. And I think part of the teachings in Scaria, and not necessarily everywhere else in the world, would be that even if you're descended from evil, you can still do good, which is now that I realize it, is a prominent lesson I think is going to be carried on throughout this campaign. Just because you are born of evil does not necessarily mean that you have to succeed it, you know? The god maybe doesn't care, but the human personality needs to deal with the outcome. Oh. That's so tragic. That makes me so sad. Oh, I do kind of like it. It's a poetic tragedy, I would say. The god maybe doesn't care, but the human personality needs to deal with the outcome. That's so interesting. I don't think it fits with how I want Isomar to work in my world, but I would love to explore that idea. I'm actually gonna put it on the side. I would put this to the side. You know? I like that. I like that idea. Anyways, that was a big long tangent to talk about these people. So uses a helpless persona, and part of this is that they are very well off, or yeah, very well off. And they use this helpless persona as like almost a naivete. Is that how you naivete? If I can spell it. I'll just put naive. Be safe. Naive. So naive, quote unquote, thinks that everything will work out. So of course that's not going to be reality. They're not going to think that everything will work out. Everything's working out great for them because they're getting their way. But they use that as like a lure to get people to summon demons. So what are they getting out of working with the experimenter? They are actually a murderer. So what they get is a person. They also get money, which feeds their very well off lifestyle, of course. So they get money, and as well they get the people that were part of the demonic summoning, and they get to murder them, which is fun for them. Also, I would like to say that I have a very simplistic view on murderers, and that is that they are very stupid, which is, I know, of course, not reality, but I will definitely be acting like this person is an idiot, even though they're very intelligent, because that is how I personally view murderers. I'm a simple person. I think people being assholes is dumb. I think, yeah, anyway, that's the extent of my brain. Copy pasta. Okay. Is that centered? I don't think that's centered. It's fine, whatever. Okay, and then this next piece is going to be, they are a murderer. And I already actually talked to my players. They are all comfortable with there being a murderer being in this game, and have actually encouraged me to do it. And they're like, yeah, we want to fuck up a murderer. And I'm like, you know what? Let me serve it to you. Some killers also need an excuse for their deeds, a logic why it is just to do so. Well, if you're summoning a demon, you're probably not a good person. You're probably an asshole, and also, it could be, we could actually work up a, what's the word? Some kind of motivation that has to do with the Dancing Lotus. Either they don't like people who are very well off, or they don't like, anybody who goes and gambles, or they don't like people who drink, or they don't like such and such and such. We could find something very specific that they dislike, and that helps them choose their victims. Almost, what's the word? Signature isn't right. An MO? Modus operandi? Actually, I think signature is what they do after. Anyways, we could find something that helps them choose their victims. So there's an enjoyment in the killing act, or the feeling of power it gives them. Yes, I think that specifically, it makes them feel like a god, which would tie into the angry at the gods idea, which I think would be really fun to explore. Even has no pity with the real deal partner. Yeah, they begged for a demon for help, so they knew what they got themselves into. Yeah. They don't like people that remind them of their father. Oh. Oh my god! That's so good! You're on a roll today, Edwin. That is so good. They could have a preference for males as well, which would hit a little bit closer to home on that one as well. So let's do this here, and we'll like choosing their victims. Bop. Oh wait, copy. Pasta? Oops. Pasta? Nope. Pasta? There we go. They don't like people that remind them of their father. So their father could have been very influential. That's how they got away with the murder. That's how he got away with the murder of the mother. Is probably used his basically the strings that he could pull to get away with the murder. I like that a lot! Oh! Luna, how are you? Welcome back. How's it going? Murders for sacrificial summons? Oh, so instead... Oh, so they are luring these people into summoning these demons, but don't know that they are the sacrifice. That might be fun, actually. I kind of like that. Oh. Okay. Lure people with the promise of a deal with a demon, but they are actually the sacrifice. Choosing their victims, we'll put here, and then we'll put this under that. I like that a lot. It's so fun. Oh, this is gonna be so cool! Oh, it's gonna have so many layers to it. Abandoned not only by the gods, but also their last family member. I would have a tragic idea, but this is way too cruel. In a demonic story I once read, there was a mass murderer to be able to resummon a specific soul back to the world. Sadly, it never works, and other things answer the call. So we have, like you're saying, we have the option of making them even more sympathetic in trying to bring back their mom, instead of just murdering because they can. I don't know if I want to do that. I like the idea a lot, but I kind of want this murderer to be manipulative. I want them to be an evil person. But even evil people have their motives, I guess. But then you could argue, does that make them truly evil? What if he tries to call back one person he misses even with the ritual, when the ritual is fundamentally flawed? Wizard used some art I generated of his hands, and the thing he's holding did not work out well, but the rest of the look. Okay, hold. Oh. This gives more suave than I think the naive look we're going for. But I guess that's the question. Do we want them to be naive, or do we want them to be, or like a person that you are innately wanting to help, or do we want them to be somebody that is very charismatic and very good AI hands? Yeah, exactly. Be somebody that you want to help. Is it someone that wants to help you, or someone you want to help? A little bit of both. I guess that's the real question here. What we want. What we want. Oh, this is such a good start. I love this. This is gonna be so much fun. Oh my god. Sorry, I'm just a big old nerd. It's all I have to my name. They don't like people that remind them of their father, and part of this is... So the victims are all going to be male. Ooh. So Cass is the only male character in this group, and Cass also very much is missing somebody that died prematurely, his lover. So we may even be able to convince Cass to get in on this. I might have to have a conversation with Oliver to see what he thinks of that. So male, what personality traits does the father have? I kind of like the idea of stern, somebody who's very much like, fuck you, I'm in charge. Stern. Somebody where the players would go, oh no, this guy has no clue what they're getting themselves into. Yeah. Oh no, this guy's just an idiot. He's just an idiot. I like that. Like, it tries to resummon his mother, but the soul already isn't reachable. Like, her mother got reincarnated or have passed on with no way to return. So it's actually very interesting. In my world, you cannot resurrect somebody if they do not want to return. There's skill checks involving like persuading them to come back or using their history to come back or something like that. You know, skill checks. If you've seen Critical Role, it is very similar to that, but not entirely. Mine's a little different. But yeah, basically that would be possible because she doesn't want to come back to the world. The world sucks. She's like, peace, I'm donezos. I was in a bad marriage. I had a child that eventually got me killed. I'm donezos with the world. Father could be manipulative, like he would have had trained his son well in the art of controlling others. Ooh. Would have trained his son well in the art of controlling others. Oh, I like that a lot. I do. That is so fun. Manipulative. Upper class is also another trait that we need. Do you mean his father is a politician? You're right! You're right! Politicians preferred? I like that. Politicians preferred. I like that, that's funny. Doot, doot. We'll just make this one a teeny bit smaller. Actually, we can just put it underneath this one. I make things way too complicated all the time. All the time. Father blinded from grief for the reason why the mother doesn't wish to return. Politics with the aim of gathering useful puppets for his game, dulls power even after retirement. Are you talking about the father in this case, or are you talking about the child? Ooh. Maybe we could give them, like, purple eyes or something? Something that is distinctly inhuman. Something that is not natural in human traits. Father uses blackmail to get what he wants out of those who refuse him. Ooh, the father. Okay, yeah. I like that a lot. Blinded from grief for the reason why the mother doesn't wish to return. Politics with the aim of gathering. Now you're just talking pure evil. Gathering useful puppets for his game. Okay, so let's talk about the father a little bit more in depth. Here, we'll have to put this down here. Perfect. Manipulative. All right, copy pasta. Oh, this is, I love your guys' ideas. This is making it go so good. This is gonna be so cool. Gathers useful puppets for his game. I like that a lot because, so what we could basically do is have this person target people who preys on naive people. So part of the gathers useful puppets for his game could also be this person pretending to be said puppet into the victim. Father uses blackmail to get what he wants out of those who refuse him. Ooh, I like that too. Father uses... I love this! This is so fun! Oh, too far? Oh. Use blackmail to get what he wants out of those who refuse him. Gather useful puppets for this game. Perfect. In the viewpoint of the father, the child is also a useful pawn, but fears him and doesn't hesitate on poisoning this monster when it outlives its usefulness. So you think that the father should be an active participant in this story? An active role in this child's life? I don't know if this child is arrogant. You don't get to be a mass murderer without being some form of arrogant. This is too far over. These are all too far over. I don't know if somebody that arrogant would keep someone like that in their life. Also, I don't know if the father would keep the child in their life if they think they're such a monster. Because the kid is aware of this danger, he repels representatives from his father to cool off. He repels. I'm tired. He kills representatives from his father to cool off. Oh. Interesting. So the father is trying to get into the child's life. I don't know if the father would. He thinks this kid is a freak. He doesn't want anything to do with him. He doesn't want anyone to know he's related to him, right? You can make it so that everyone in the town has some sort of hidden connection back to this family. Do you mean like networking wise? Sorry, my brain like shorted out and I had to reread what you wrote. Some sort of hidden connection back to this family. That would be interesting. Nobody can really escape this family. They're so involved. Oh, that's so interesting. Okay. But the monster is useful for the father. He can't lose the pawn in his game. To lose him now is too much of a loss. Maybe a specific skill set that is hard to obtain? I have to imagine that this child's full-time job is finding people to A, murder, and B, summon demons so that he can give them to the experimenter. Oh, I was a little hesitant, but now I'm full set on the idea of they are lured with the promise of a deal with the demon, but they are actually the sacrifice. I really like that because it really puts the requirements of the deal in the murderer's hands, which means, oh, I just need you to go here and talk to this dude. Or even the deal is you have to go kill this person, knowing that this person, the experimenter, is so skilled at capturing these demons that they don't have to worry about that person actually getting killed. And then that demon is never sent back because they never killed this person. I think that's fun. When the monster, like when I lose him now, I need an extra 5 to 8 years to build a similar card. He could aim the child partly for the killings with informations to benefit him. Mass killings blur who was aimed for and not. Can you expand on what you mean by the mass killings blur who was aimed for or not? So are you saying like the kid targets enemies of the father? Once they are in debt with him, they won't ever let the debt paid off. Once they are in debt with him. Luna, do you mean the kid or the father? Won't ever let the debt be paid off. So if you're talking about the father, he believes that the kid owes a debt to him. That makes most sense, but I don't know for sure if that's what you're talking about. When one of the dead was beneficial for the father, through manipulations of the father's part, he could use him to kill political enemies. Oh, that is kind of an extra layer of emotion of maybe either the father convincing the kid that these people are actually worse than him, or of the kid having some kind of greater game plan for the father, where the father gets into power and then like maybe the kid is like, yo, he killed my mom and here's the proof, or something like that. And when many die who find out that he ordered it, is through starting a chain reaction benefiting him at the end. You're right, completely ruining the what's the word? Retention is not the word. Reputation. Completely ruining the reputation that this person has built up and sending them to jail. So maybe it's like a suicide bomb, almost. A suicide mission to get his father the ultimate punishment for who his father is. I like that. The father would be a great diversion for a possible big bad. He could really throw them off of the demons. That would be okay. Oh, that actually, so I love the idea as well, because if the players have to decide. She screams. Will she continue screaming? She will not. The players, my party, they have to decide whether or not they team up with the kid to, or not team up, but they don't kill the kid or don't get rid of the kid in order to have the kid suicide pact, basically, the father and themselves into jail. I think that would actually make for a very interesting thingling. Interesting storyline. Targets enemies of the father. I like that. What? Oh! The son at one point wants a fortune teller. Went to a fortune teller and asked how he could kill the man who killed his mother. Not wanting to say it was his father, the fortune teller told him this man could only be killed by a true demon. This is why they turned to summoning demons, not realizing that his murderers he turned into the demon the fortune teller referred to. Not realizing that with his murderers, he turned into the demon the fortune teller referred to. Oh! Oh, wait, that's so cool. I love that. Oh my. Oh my. Well, dude, this is like a side tangent. Ooh. You guys are actual demons at storytelling. Father, I knew the method how my child operates, and so I can exploit it for my means. When he never finds out, I send a minion to persuade for the summoning of the demon. Who could find this out when my messenger died already? I like it. Persuade for the summoner. I knew the method how my child operates, so I can exploit it for my means. Could be either the father or child. Manipulation is a wonderful tool. Can work quite favorably if one uses it properly to their advantage. I read farther than I actually said, and then I put the words in different orders. A prophecy taken literally when it should not be. This is so fun. This is such a great start. I love it so much. Oh my. The devils. Experimenter. Okay, I do need to write down because I don't think I'll forget, but it's possible that I could forget. Delete actually. I need to copy pasta over here. Already in line. Whoops. The devils. Okay, we're not gonna work on the experimenter today. We're gonna work out that whole thing later, because I do not have too terribly much time. Anyways, let's go over what we've already got because I need to make sure that it makes sense logically in a storytelling kind of way. So let's just run through it. The summoner is an Isomar. They're angry at the gods. They were abandoned by their blood ancestor, and their parents hate me, or their parent hate them for being Isomar. So are we like set on this person being a dude? On this being a man? Like, draw some nice parallels between father and son. Some nice parallels. Parent hates him. Oop. Being Isomar, abandoned by him blood ancestor. Angry at the gods, abandoned by his the blood ancestor. You could easily switch to mother-daughter, I think. I don't think so because of this part right here where the dad kills the mom, because like if you're the mother of a child, you know that child is yours. Like, it's 100% yours. There's no, unless like some crazy experimentation thing happened, you know that that child is yours. But if you're the father, you don't always know. There is no 100% chance unless you, in this world, get the magical version of a DNA test, which is go to a fortune teller of some kind. Get some kind of divination happening up in here. But I would love to do a mother-daughter link, maybe with the experimenter. We'll explore that next time. We'll do the experimenter next time. Because if I get too far ahead of myself, I will never stop. It'll be bad. Anyways, they use a helpless, or he uses a helpless persona. He is very well off and naive. He very well off and appears to be naive. Appears to be naive. Thinks, quote unquote, that everything will work out. They are a murderer. They lure people with the promise of a deal with the demon, but they are actually the sacrifice. They are choosing their victims, and we will go over that in a second. And the father trained his son well in the art of controlling others. He doesn't. He don't. I don't know why. I could have done that so much easier. Doesn't like people that remind him of his father. He's male, manipulative, upper class. Gathers useful puppets for his game. Manipulative, upper class, uses blackmail to get out what he wants out of those who refuse him. Targets enemies of the father. So what we'll do is put this right here. Put this right here, bruv. Down here, the son at one point went to a fortune teller and asked her to kill the man who killed his mother. I love this fortune teller idea. So maybe he isn't doing like a suicide, we both go down thing. A funny thing is when someone tries to appear as something, they often overdo it. Only fake manages to fail 100%. A thing easily forgotten when someone presents. I think so. I actually have very personal experience with a manipulative person. And or somebody who shows a face to everybody because they want everybody to like them. And it's very funny you say that, because eventually their mask did start to slip and everybody outside of their immediate social circle kind of figured out what was happening. And I think to some extent that is true, but for years they were able to keep it up. Absolute decades of their life, which is an insane amount of time for a human being to keep up an appearance and for people to believe it. But it is very possible. But I do like the idea of the mask starting to slip. Maybe with these new people that they find. They're like, okay, so they're actually decent people. I don't know if I should be manipulating them as much. And adding a little bit more to that sympathetic factor. But I don't know how sympathetic I want to make this person. I don't want them to be good. I don't want them... I think that everybody is redeemable to some extent. I think there are people who aren't redeemable. But I don't know if I want this person to appear redeemable to my players. And ultimately, I don't think they will think that he is redeemable because of the amount of people that he will have killed. Sorry. I think that... I don't think that they will think this person is redeemable. It's a matter of whether or not my players will decide to kill him or hand him over to the authorities is the real question. Fortune teller. I find it interesting when the fortune teller had his own agenda at play. If I am a menace as a DM for spiderwebs of deception, I'm a menace. I love that. That's so funny. I think that we, us as the combined brain, the hive mind, if you will, the hive mind of the DM, I think it will bring us satisfaction to know that the fortune teller may have had their own agenda. Maybe they were working with the devils and the devils had like some kind of long game or something. I think that would be interesting, but I don't know if necessarily this fortune teller comes into play in our player character's story, if that makes sense. Might be fun, actually, to add a devilish storyteller later on. Okay, we'll put an asterisk. We'll put an asterisk. Whoops. Storyteller. Everybody has a face. You only ever truly drop it when you're alone. See, I would agree, except this person that I know thinks they're a genuinely good person, which is insane to me. It's actually crazy. But even I do believe that in their personal time, they believe themselves to be good and be in the right, which is insane. I agree that at some point my players find out that trust is strange. At least food is always okay. Yeah, I don't like using food as something you shouldn't trust either. In one of my campaigns, I had a country that was ruled by queens, and the title is passed down through the female line. When they worked for this kingdom, one of the characters asked one of the advisors of the queen why their title is inherited through the female line. The advisor looked at him and said, "Have you ever seen a child being born? Trust me, if you see a child being born, there can be no doubt who the mother is." Exactly. You're right, Edwin. I see. If only history were logical. I like the idea that the fortune teller worked for the real big bad evil guy who found glee to bring the city to a giant stage play of chaos. So I recently watched Carnival Row with a friend of mine, and it's actually not good. The first season was pretty good. The last season is an absolute mess. Do not recommend. But they had a character in there who was like chaos is basically, they didn't say these exact words, but they said chaos is basically a stage for change to happen. It's a stage for people like you and me talking to another character who's an absolute dumbass, for you and me to take power. And I like playing with that idea. I like it a lot. Fortune teller could be a recurring person, seeds of manipulating the manipulators. Oh, so, I don't know if I actually, hang on. Let me see if I have this. No, hold. Varia groups, Varia, the gods, full information, Asmodeus. His abilities. He could generate up to 10 projections of himself. Yes! Okay, wait, but can he do that on the prime material? His ability to send avatars to that was stunted. He could only send one avatar at a time to the prime. The fortune teller could be Asmodeus, is what I'm getting at. I think that would be really fun. Oh, Mikazuki, hello, welcome. You caught us in the middle of some brainstorming, so I'm glad you can make it. We're having a good time. Oh, MTech, that is such a good idea! Oh my god. Say less. Say less. Alright, no longer asterisk storyteller. Hang on, I'm dying. Actually, Asmodeus. Asmodeus? Don't know how to say it. I'm just gonna say it whatever way. I like the idea of an NPC who loves to start giant chain reactions to bring downfalls ages after he leaves. I'm a big fan of the butterfly effect. I love using it as, cause I swear the people that I currently have in my life that I very much love and enjoy being around, the odds of us meeting are 1 in a bazillion. Like, all of them. None of them I have been close to. None of them were from, like, actual activities that we both went to. I met them through somebody else as an off chance, just completely out of the wild, and just somewhere along the line, the fates just, they aligned, and now I know these wonderful people. And that is insane to me. It's so crazy that meeting somebody who was bad for you or who was not amazing in your life could bring great people into your life. I think that's crazy. I also placed a giant elder god who put figurines in place to bring chaos so humans start to pray to it. That's fun. Just making false gods. It doesn't need to have 10 in the material plane. Only one well-placed avatar at the right moment is priceless. Asmodeus has many consorts too he could employ. Yeah, he does have entire generals and armies. I think that's what's going to be really fun, because eventually, after we finish with the experimenter and the storytellers, the storyteller? This is not right. The fortune teller. Hi. Is fortune teller one word? That doesn't look right. You tell me. I want to, after we finish expanding these and making them more fleshed out and more brought into the world, we will actually go into Asmodeus and the very finite details of this character and how we want the players to eventually defeat them. Sorry, I put quotes on the wrong part. Having a hard time with property refurb, so distracting my mind with some hobbing. Oh, nice! What are you having a hard time with, man? Property refurb. Are you talking like a house, or are you talking like furniture of some kind? Fortune teller could possibly end up being an advisor, given the advisor title after telling the son about how to kill the father. Oh, I like that, actually. Like the fortune teller putting this into effect, putting the experimenter line into effect, rose them up in the ranks. I like that, actually. I like them actually. Hold. Let me do a little line between them. Line to line. Yes, yes, yes. Brilliant. Perfect. So we'll decide between those at a later time. But I do like that a lot. In a story I tried to work on, there was a time traveler who uses the butterfly effect to get the outcome he wishes to happen. So he's never seen by the events he really tries to change. Time traveler needs to work smarter with the property. Oh, nice. I wish you luck, man. That sounds like a lot. Too much work. Very nice. It's good that you're getting it done, though. I put things off way too much. As you can tell by me being here 2 months later. Anyways, they choose their victims. Targets are the enemies of the father. So this is part 1 of that, and we're also going to copy pasta. We're gonna, boop. We're gonna bring this here. Enemies of the father. Ooh. There we go. I kind of wanna do this. Boop. Boop. Okay. Oops. That's not spelled right. Fortune teller. So maybe the sun is getting impatient. So we'll actually switch these around. The sun is getting impatient and is wanting to... Basically what I said earlier, I want the sun to be like, okay, none of these demons are fucking killing the guy. So now, what I want is to take us both down by revealing what has been happening. To, take both of them down. And then I think this will create the... I think this will create the conundrum that I want my players to have of whether or not they want to help this person fulfill their goal. Eventually putting this person to prison, of course, by taking down both the father and the son, or taking the law into their own hands and killing the son. I want them to have to make that decision. The son is getting impatient, is wanting to take both of them down, and will need to either be let go to do so, or stopped by the players. I want that conundrum in there. I want it. It must happen. Can I? There we go. Bop. In the story I knew, there was an immortal schemer who understands the human drives and wishes and manipulates them to his ends. I like that. That's fun. Maybe look into the party after they kill a demon he summoned to find out if they became a problem or not. Well, I actually want them... So... The... The demon devil mixture that they found from the results of the experimenters' experiments. That guy is still alive, which is something the experimenter did not think would happen. But the experimenter will have seen that the people who spared this creature's life are this group of people. And knowing that this group of people is now in Umbra, where the summoner is, loosely, the summoner is, the experimenter is going to be like, hey, these people, keep an eye on them. They get into a lot of trouble, I think is probably how I want it to go. And why this summoner decides to get close to this specific group of people. Or if they are helpful, you can work with them. Otherwise, plans need to change. I guess that would be interesting to have them basically come in and be these goody two-shoes type people. And he's like, hey, so these people suck and they're kind of assholes. And so just, you know, help me convince them to be in the right place at the right time and we can get rid of them type situation. I don't know if my players will go for that. And I think I would have to get a very fine read on the situation when they meet this person first, in order to see whether or not they would be amiable to that. So is the experimenter actually just doing science, or are they seeking something else? Like they are twisting this into some sort of art form. So I'm not positive on what I want the experimenter to be just yet. I know that the experimenter is working with the devils, specifically Asmodeus. But I think that they enjoy the action of science, the art of science, if you will. But I think that big backstory is that the Pact Primeval is something that at the very beginning of time, Asmodeus used to actually be an angel. And in order to, him and his angels that are his champions that he led into battle in the War of the Cosmos, his group of angels and him took on the traits of the demons to be able to fight more effectively. Thus, devils were born. And basically, what I think is going to happen is that Asmodeus thinks that he can make his army stronger if this science happens to make the demon devil mixture even stronger than it was before. But of course, that would require a lot of control for somebody so lawful as Asmodeus in the Nine Hells. And he would need to ensure that these creatures could be controlled, even if they were stronger than the original devils, if that makes sense. Whew, that was too much talking. Son, I would like to use a persona to find intel about the players to adapt them to get to my outcomes. Okay. So using a, like, this naive person, blah, blah, blah. This naive person is a falsehood, is not real. Is that what you're saying? Like, they have a completely different look to the actual person. In the one story, the immortal schemer was a giant thorn in the side to deal with because the heroes knew surprisingly little about their goals, wishes, and strategies. It makes fighting immortals hard to deal with. I think fighting immortals would be difficult to deal with in general. They do have literally generations of experience of being able to live or living in this realm, compared to everyone else. Okay, so they are a murderer. Boop. 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 Okay. Okay. Oh, what? What? Mistakes were made! Stop! You really do me like this. And for what? There we go. Yeah. I actually really like what we have so far. I think it gives us so much room for this person to exist. Yeah, I think this is gonna be so much fun. The naive persona would help me best find out if they help strangers. If they let me lay and bleed out, they can't be trusted. Yeah, I do like that. I do like that. I Okay, so we'll actually copy pasta this, scroll, and the players. Naive person, someone would help me the best. I like that. His family are gathering souls with some sort of uniqueness, like being so full of despair from being manipulated so much. Are you talking about the father-son duo? I think the goal is to eventually bring down the father to, bring down the father by his own hand, to some degree. The son. I can't do it all alone, and the strangers are the best he may be able to get, well, as unobtained from a corruption as his father. Helpers with no string attached. I do like that. I have a few years of trade work under my belt. I'm a Sparky by trade, but have qualifications in plumbing as well. Nice. Oh, non-loading mirroring walls. You can make it into be a 3-bed. Nice. That's so cool. A fixer-upper. I like it. I don't think I'd ever have the skills to be able to do something like that. That's impressive. So the father is the soul of the experimenter desires. No, the experimenter wants specifically the demons that are being summoned out of these deals. And we could say that in order to summon these powerful demons, they need an actual life to be sacrificed. Upping the property value. Nice. Eventually we come to the most difficult thing to decide about this character. What is his name? Why you gotta do me like that, Edwin? What the hell? Oh, fuck, dude. Asmodeus for night. Nope. Varia groups. To call. Session notes. The Dancing Lotus. What is this character's name? God damn. Timeline notes. Hang on, let me grab my... Yeah, there it is. Doot. We do, early 20s in human years. Smart. Okay, got it. They just need any souls then. The choice of the soul is based off their twisted natures. Yeah, exactly. So part of the reason why this character accepted the job to summon these demons is because they are a murderer. And murderers, if you watch as much crime TV as I do, which is too much, or at least used to, I haven't watched in a few weeks, most, not all, but most murderers tend to veer towards a specific type of person, whether that be gender or occupation or something characteristic that defines them. A lot of these people pick out specific types of people to murder because that is to their tastes to some degree. I would use two names from the original name of the Isomar and the persona name, so he wishes to not be found out to be related to his father. I actually like that. I like that. So, persona, which is what the players are going to meet. And then real name. And then we also need to find a name for the father. Whoops. Human, early 20s. Late 40s in human years. Maybe early 50s. I think early 50s. If we're going off the idea that this person is older than they are. We'll bing bing boop that over there. Okay. His real name. Alright, let's get out the baby name generator. It's time. It's time. Male. Ooh. Are there any like specific vibes that this name gives you? I kind of want the son to start with a C or an S. Start with a C. Syllables. Oh. Let's do 3 syllables. Ooh. I like that. Callias. Kind of like Callias, actually. Kind of like that. Maybe the persona name should sound like the name of a kid who would come up with for themselves. Could you be more specific? I think I have an idea of what you're talking about, but I want to hear what vibe you had in mind. I'm sat on that property on my kneeling stool, found some wood rot downstairs, and I ripped out the floorboards today. Oh, that's good. Luckily, they're fine. Tear it off the wallpaper and pre-plaster the wall. That sounds like so much work, dude. A lot. I wish you luck. Godspeed. We need some kind of family name, I think. So last names that mean power, I think. Strong and powerful last names or surnames. Black. Harrison. Son of gold, powerful or strong? It's Harrison. I actually kind of like that. Harrison. Kind of like that. That was quick. This was much less painful. Maybe a name rooted in a fairy tale. Ooh, I kind of like that. Okay, and then for the father, something short, something that commands respect. Oh, elder, Keizo, Ikram. Honor, respect. Arabic origin. Arson. Zerun. Respected, wise. Armenian. Primarily a male name of Armenian origin. Keizo. It's a Javanese origin. Respect third, rejoice. I'm stuck between these 3. These are the ones that I like. Ikram, Zerun, or Keizo. Elder or Arison. Could you imagine? I can't imagine somebody being named Elder. I don't know why. Something like Skywalker just sounds to me like something a kid would come up with and go, ooh, that sounds cool. Skywalker. Callias and Ikram. I kind of want Callias to sound different from his father's name. So I think maybe Ikram. I like that. Ooh. Ikram Arison. And then Callias Arison. And then a persona. Could respell Keizo as Queso. So you got the father, son, C. See, I think the father would want his son's name to be as far away from his as possible. Like, even if it was subconscious, I feel like he would be like, this freak of nature, I don't want to be anywhere near me. I don't want to have anything in common with this guy. It's kind of why I'm leaning away from Keizo. And I kind of like the idea that this has honor and respect because he craves respect but lacks the honor. Is my vibes. And then this one's respected wise. And I don't like the idea of him being named Wise, if that makes sense. I don't know. It's just... my brain gets stuck on things, and it's just, you know, part of the process. Boop. Yeah, not Keizo, but Zerun or Ikram. I think I like Ikram. Yes. Yes! Yes. So now we need to find some kind of oh my goodness, some kind of name for the persona. So like maybe fairy tale names. Belle, Maurice, Laurette, and Paulette. Fawn over Gaston. Jack and the Beanstalk, Hansel and Gretel. So these are all from the... a lot of these are from the Disney versions, which is not what I'm looking at. Fairy tale name. Nameberry! Let's go, Nameberry! Aurora Belle. Okay, so could you hear baby names for your happily ever after? How do I get to the actual names? Oh, they're down here. Aurora, Finn, Irish, Lucy, Arthur, Magnus. I like the idea of using a name and then using it again. Whoa! Using it again later in the game as like an actual person's real name. And then they're like, oh, we ran into a Magnus and blah, 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 you know? Kane for the persona as a slight hint for the goal of his. Kane. That's a little too Bible-ish. That's a Bible story, isn't it? Cain? It's a little too Bible-ish for me. It's a little too on the nose. Patricide would be a little bit on the nose. Oedipus also has a story to him with a prophecy to kill his father. Oedipus. Maybe something like Dawnbreaker as a last name. A little nod to Lucifer, sometimes being referred to as the Morning Star. I kind of like that. Kind of like Dawnbreaker. Dawnbreaker. Just, you know, a little sad thing for us to know. Cain killed his brother, so it would be partly misleading. Yeah. Mornstar. Could you imagine? I do like the idea. So let's do the stories where son kills father. So we've got Oedipus, patricide, Apsu. In the Babylonian creation epic, the Enuma Elish was killed by his son A in the struggle for supremacy among the gods. Oh, Apsu. This actually, supremacy among the gods hits so on the nose, and I don't know if any of my players will know that story. Fafnir also would be fit, but the word is a bit strange to call you out to call you after a dragon. Is that a dragon in something specific? I'm so bad with names, dude. So bad with them. Mesopotamian Hurrian people, the storm god Teshub kills his father Kumarbi, sometimes jointly with his grandfather Anu, in reciprocity for an attempted patricide by the Kumarbi. In the Greek creation epic, first recorded in Hesiod's Theogony, there's too many words, Cronus was jealous of his father's power of ruler of the universe. Isn't Uranus Roman, not Greek? Am I thinking of the wrong god? Cronus thus killed or castrated his father. Cronus in turn was overthrown by his own son, Zeus. Huh. I must be mixing up my gods. Near the end of the list, Norse mythology. Ah, Fafnir murdered his father, Hreindar, to gain— I can't, dude, there's so many words and I don't know any of them. To gain the cursed golden ring of Andvari that he had attained. Some versions say his father, Regan, helped him. His brother, I thought I said father. My brain is so bad. Cronus was jealous of his father's power. Cronus. Just, how common of a story is Cronus? I don't think it's that common of a story, is it? Oedipus was fated to kill his father. Pelias was killed by his daughters, who were deceived by Medea into thinking he could be resurrected. That was stupid of them. Killed his father Arjun. Arjun was brought back to life by his wife, the snake goddess. I don't think that I want to do that one. People commit patricide will be killed by a lightning strike as punishment from filial and warrior deity Erlog Shen in Chinese. Erlang Shen. In Chinese belief. The Norse mythology. West Java, Indonesia, said to have— Sangkuriang is said to have killed his father, who was a dog, because he did not get any prey. Thinking maybe Cronus? I feel like that one's not well known enough to be on their radar, but also well known enough that they will be like, oh, that sounds familiar. Maybe I'm crazy. In my region, not many knew the myths of Greek, but that is specific for me because I love to read about myths and legends. I know in my area at least, everybody in like my 8th grade class was obsessed with Greek mythology. I think it was the Percy Jackson effect. That was the books. Everyone loved those stories. I'm I'm an asshole and I think most of the Greek stories are dumb, but that is also the opinion of one very small person. Cronus is a bit hard to use, so maybe we could come up with some other name that is based off that. Open link. Kronos, maybe. Kronos kind of slides off the tongue a little bit better. I feel like Forgotten Realms Kronos is an ancient deity. Ironically lost to the ages, religious texts and ancient history spoke of him in passing. He is known to have been worshipped by the nation of Orva. Shrines of Kronos still held power millennia later. That would also be interesting. Sunork is Cronus backwards. Sunork. I can already imagine my players making fun of that name. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I like it. Alucard? That's so familiar. What is that? Helsing. I've seen fan art of this character. I never knew this Dracula you speak of. No mere vampire. Ooh. I love the idea of using his name backward. Maybe Sono? Sono? Or Suno? Sono Dawnbreaker? Sono Brawnbreaker? Brawndigger. Sono. Kronos. Alucard or backwards. Dracula. That's so fun. I'm actually a big fan of things being spelled backwards and people using them as names. It's silly and it feels very childlike wonder to me. I love it being used in stories. I want to do either Sono or Kronos. Suno Crane. Suno Crane Dawnbreaker. Suno Crane. What do you guys prefer, Sono or Kronos? CR is hard to work a name around. Kronos. Yeah, you're kind of right. I can't think of very many names that start with like a CR sound. He not only needs his first name, but maybe a second. Yeah, we went with the Dawnbreaker as the last name. So I think Sono Dawnbreaker? Scorn is Kronos jumbled. Scorn. Oh, you know what? What if his name is Scorn Dawnbreaker and he uses that as like a way to lead into the my dad never loved me and thought I was a curse on this earth, and he uses that as like a pity party thing. I kind of like that actually, Ebtech. Ooh, okay. Scorn Dawnbreaker. That does sound like a name that a child would make up. Amazing. I kind of like that. I think that we have a character on our hands, you guys. Okay. So now that we've got all this figured out, I am gonna call it there. I am so happy that we got to do this, and I was thinking maybe I don't come back to streaming this character creation or story creation stuff, and it's so much fun, and I'm glad that I decided to come back to it because I really did miss you guys. It was so much fun to make all of this together. I never learned the identity of my father. He left my mother before I could walk. Cry, cry. I like that. Not revealing too much of himself. I'm from the Netherlands and sometimes use Dutch words to name characters when playing online with people who do not speak Dutch. For example, Krukas, a half-orc I played. I do like that. I love it when words have meanings outside of just what they seem to. To avoid sharing about his father. Yeah, exactly. Share anything about his father with the players. But eventually he would have to, which would be an interesting time. All right, before I get too far into coming back to this, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I had so much fun, and I'm so glad that I could do this again and have fun with you guys again. And we have done so much, and I'm so excited to do more in the future. This is gonna be so much fun. And yeah, okay, so let's see who's online right now. Do you guys have any streamers that we could raid on this fine day? I don't see anyone. Hold. Would you share a personal wound with strangers you barely know? I often find that in manipulating people, a lot of people put a strand of truth in there. Because it helps sell that emotional tie-in. The best way to lie is really with the truth, to some extent. Of course, that's just a turn of phrase, but you get what I'm saying. Let's see who's online today. Twitch. Search Dungeons and Dragons. Who is character creating today? Is there anyone who's doing like session prep that's online right now? I don't see anyone doing any session prep. This is a travesty. Oh, it's so cool to see how many people are doing D&D right now. The playmat is homebrewing? Yeah, let's do it. /raid the playmat? Hopefully this works. Oh. This channel is intended for mature audiences. Alrighty guys, thank you for hanging out with me, and thank you for coming up with some fun ideas for my players. I know they're gonna have a blast. I'll see you. I'm not gonna have a set schedule because my schedule is so weird right now, but I will see you probably within the next week or two, depending on when we play next. And yeah, all right, I will see you guys later. Have a wonderful day. Bye.